Week 3 was pretty exciting for the NFL season. We saw a couple rookies shine, including Daniels upsetting the Bengals, and just like that game, we saw upsets. The Rams beat the Niners, Dalton rallied the Panthers to win against the Raiders, Bo and the Broncos shine against the Buccaneers. And update on the rookie quarterbacks this week, they all mostly looked better. Like what I was talking about in my video, Caleb threw for his most yards today with 363, but he did have a bad red zone interception. Nix didn't throw an interception today, though, and he ran for a TD, almost 50 yards on the ground for him, and he put up 216 through the air, and he had his best passer rating so far. Now, the one who played best, once again, is Jayden Daniels. That man was almost unstoppable in a great game against the Bengals with 2 touchdowns and 254 yards, and not an interception to go with them. Now, is it time for the Bengals to panic? I would honestly say it's time to worry, but I don't know if they should go full panic mode yet. If they lose to the Panthers, then they should send Zach Taylor to the moon and probably Joe Burrow along with him. But if the Bengals beat the Panthers, they might be able to go on a little bit of a streak. They need to upset the Ravens, but then have the Giants and Browns, and could have a close game with the Browns. But the Bengals actually looked a lot better against the Commanders than they have in past games this season. Now, the Commanders might not be the strongest team, but they've still shined some this year and still have looked quite good for the most part, obviously with some faults to their game, but they were an awful team last year, and they've really gotten better this year. And going off of the Bengals game, more teams with high expectations lost this week. Buccaneers took their first loss this season, and it was against the Broncos. Now, I still feel like the Buccaneers are legit and not to worry about them, though. The Colts won a kind of sluggish game over the Bears, and AR didn't look too good, but a win is a win. The Panthers would win this week against the Raiders, and I think this wasn't what people were expecting for sure. But what does this mean for Young? Well, he really just needs to lock in. When he is finally put back in, he needs to actually prove himself to this franchise that he was the number 1 pick and that there's a reason they still have hope in him to become something actually good and to become the franchise QB there in Carolina. The Cowboys lost a game in which I figure the Ravens would take the win. The Ravens mostly looked good, but they collapsed late in the game. I couldn't have seen the Ravens starting 0-3 though, and now we see them go 1-2, and Dallas will also drop to 1-2. The Ravens did lose the opener against the Chiefs by a foot, but those are still plays you need to convert when you put all the excuses aside. On top of that though, the Chiefs are now 3-0, but it is pretty undeservedly, but 3-0 nonetheless. Against the Bengals and Falcons, they'd get bailed out because of late calls or even no calls. Jaguars got absolutely blown out by the Bills this week though, and with an 0-3 start, I could see it being time to panic in Duval. Just because you just paid Trevor Lawrence all that money, and honestly, he hasn't looked good so far at all. The Lions took a small win though over the Cardinals, only winning by 7, but I feel like the Cardinals very well could be a playoff team this season. The Rams had a huge comeback win over the 49ers. They were down 21-7 in the third, but rallied back huge to win 27-24. Purdy and Juan Jennings absolutely connected, but the game just couldn't be finished out by the Niners. I expect them to bounce back this season despite this. Once they get some good players back from injury, I think they'll be a fine team. Obviously a great one. This is all for this week's recap though. I'll be back with another recap in a couple weeks when more things have happened in the league. Watch out for my videos throughout the week though, and have a great day.